Hello, and welcome to the Chapter 20 Flipped Classroom. This flipped classroom is going to go over the Americas from 600 to 1450, but we will dip back a little bit into period um, 2 from 600 to 600 because it's been a while since we, in this class, talked about the Americas. But this map gives you an idea of the civilizations in the Americas that existed at the same time as other societies we've been learning about. So here, the purple is the Mexica or the Aztec. The green is the Maya. And then down here, we have what will become the Incan Empire. The Incan Empire is solidified at the very end of this time period. And as you can see over in Afro-Eurasia, we've got the Chinese dynasties, the Mongols, and different states over in India. They were never centralized during this time period. And then we've got the Byzantine Empire and the Abbasid Caliphate and the different caliphates, the Mamluk caliphs and all that stuff. So that is just to say that the Americas exist in this kind of this isolated state. There's no bridging the gap here. All right, so the overarching concepts in the Americas are, first of all, firstly, that we only learn about part of the civilizations in the Americas because this class focuses mainly on empires and larger political structures. We focus on this more settled parts of the Americas, but there are parts of the Americas that were more isolated, where you had more hunter-gatherer societies, and unfortunately, we just don't go over much of that in this class. During this time period, just like in Afro-Eurasia, communication and exchange networks blossomed and became more and more elaborate, especially in the Incan and Aztec societies. And there were extremely, like I just mentioned, large empires. These empires had a large cultural network. They were influencing others, and they had extremely elaborate religious framework. And then the last place we're going to talk about is Oceania. Actually, we're going to talk about that a little bit earlier on than usual. But Oceania had experienced some changes at this time because of migration patterns. And these migration patterns had large environmental impacts because of the crops and animals that Oceanian migrants brought with them. Okay, so we're going to start with our only North American society that we're going to be learning about. It's not that these societies aren't extremely important. Of course they are. It's just that they don't really fit the scope of this course because we're, again, learning more about empires. So we spend a little less time on North American societies. So we are going to look at the Mississippian culture, and we're going to focus here, the middle Mississippian, people who are along the Mississippi River, which is where the Mississippians get their name from. Normally, the Mississippian culture is organized into chieftains, and these chieftains were fairly large. The Mississippian culture is probably the most complex society in North America. They were mainly horticulturalists or agriculturalists and used stone tools, digging sticks, and fire, growing things like corn, beans, squash, sunflowers, goosefoot, and other plants. And then they, hunted game as well, and fishing. They really spent a lot of their time outdoors, more than we would today. And as you can see, I mean, they're in a more, at least temperate part of the country. And these areas, these cultures shared the similarity of building mounds, and these mounds were extremely large. The one in Cahokia was the largest structure in North America pre-1450, and these mounds usually had religious purposes. but they could also have political uses as well. Their settlements, the largest settlement that we have is Cahokia. And this is right on the border of Illinois, oh my goodness, Illinois. And this settlement, Illinois and Missouri, this settlement was extremely large, especially towards the end of this time period. It was the largest city in North America. And it had an extremely organized society. And the thing about the Mississippians is that, we don't know too much about them, but we do know that they were using the Mississippi River and the river networks around it for trade. Okay, so that connected the entirety of this North American society. We know that they are polytheistic. They are patriarchal, um, but these artifacts are still actively being sought. Here's a picture of Cahokia and the dwellings and the mounds and just the vastness of the city. Next, we're going to move into the Polynesians, but we're going to take a little break before we get there.